am Becca Anderson, and I am a visual designer for this lovely activity that we call the Pageantry Arts. I marched Carolina Crown in 1996 when I was going into my senior year in high school. I actually filled a spot, and that was incredible. It definitely got me going into the activity even more than just obviously doing pageantry in high school. And now I design for programs all over the country with either visual design for drill, color guard choreography, wind choreography, and I also am now the creative director for the Mandarin's Drum and Bugle Corps.
My name is Lindsey Schueller. I marched Crown in 2011 and 12, taught in 13 and would have been 20. And I also am a visual designer.
So Carolina Crown is really proud to have two female visual designers come from the Carolina Crown, and in a world where it is so it's so difficult to get that diversity, that gender diversity in the visual arts, specifically pageantry. Like, what was something that brought you to this? Was this something that Crown brought on? Was this something that happened afterwards? How did you guys get to this space of, I want to do drill, I want to be a creative visual person? How did that happen?
Oh man. For me, when I marched Crown, it definitely opened my eyes to what the entire activity was. I had no idea until I performed at that level that anything was possible. And I definitely, my viewpoint was more color guard, because that's all I could see at that point. I never saw a female that was a visual designer. I hardly saw females that were choreographers. And not until I met my husband, Mike, he was writing by hand. And at that point in time, which was the early to mid 2000s, a lot of people were using Pieware. And so I learned Pieware and started transcribing his drill for him. And that turned into what it is now, which was I started learning so much from him. And I started working together with him on projects. And then I ended up taking over projects. And that turned into somehow becoming a visual designer. So it was a very fun way to kind of do it.
Awesome. Lindsey, what about you?
Yeah, it was always something that I leaned more towards, more than the music side of things, even in high school band. And so that kind of led where I wanted to march and where I wanted to be, was to learn from specific visual instructors and specific designers. And during my time at Crown, Leon was there often, and just being able to learn from him in person was just amazing. And that definitely wouldn't have been possible without Crown. And since then I have just started writing for local high school bands, local indoor groups in the beginning of everything, and just kind of went from there into larger, more nationally known groups. And then now with Legends Drum and Bugle Corps, been writing for them for about 6 or 7 years now. So just it just grew.
Yeah, and Becca, I think it's interesting to note that Kevin Ford was our drill person in '96, and you did. He taught at the same high school as you, right? Or that you went to?
Yeah, that's the whole reason why I marched a spot in Crown. They came home and they said, we've got the spot open, and that's how I ended up doing it. So it was because of Kevin and Janine Ford. Yeah, so having that prolific of a visual designer in front of me, I wish at the time I could have been able to take that in more and learn more in the process. But you're so young that's not where your brain is at. And that was not where my brain was at all.
Yeah, you're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate to have started marching drum corps when I was 15. So I was, by the time I was already in my second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth year, that was where my head was at. And so I was able to, I was doing drum corps just fine. Like the day to day wasn't overwhelming anymore after you do it for a couple of years. So I was able to take in a little bit more just information and how things are working, and more of the inner working, the background stuff. So that I was always very appreciative for that in my later years.
Absolutely. And I am just blown away right now just because we can sit here as a panel of women who, all work in the drum corps activity. We all work in the pageantry arts, and it's so cool to know that the place that we all marched produced this. That is so powerful. And so if you could give any advice to any girls out there, what would it be?
Oh man. Um, be fearless. Don't wait for the jobs to come to you. Network. Don't be afraid to ask any local band in the area, any music arranger, program coordinators, every aspect of the activity. There are these really incredible people that can network and help you get into organizations, even if it's something small, and that can get you in the door to your first program, and that can lead to other things, because word of mouth is so big in this activity. It's not necessarily going to be, at least for me, a website or those things. It's really going to be how you network with people. So don't be afraid to ask, because let me tell you something, I have gotten some of my biggest jobs because I asked and I didn't wait for somebody to give me the job.
Lindsey, what about you?
Obviously echoing all of that, but also not being afraid to ask for help, and find a mentor, link up with someone who can help your product be great, and then your product will eventually be able to speak for itself. I think that was one of the best things for me. And now I have some students who are just interested in drill writing, and just want to know how to get started. And even if I can just offer that very beginning spark of, okay, try this first, I think that can be really powerful.
Because of Crown, I was given an opportunity that created this passion and this fire inside of me that made me realize that this is what I wanted to do for a living. I wanted to affect performers. I wanted to be a part of a team and a family that gave me so much joy and so much of an outlet of creativity. And today has led me to be the new creative director of the Sacramento Mandarins. And I'm really excited about that opportunity.
Awesome. Lindsey.
Because of Crown, I was introduced to just amazing people who have become lifelong friends and are now coworkers who push me to be better, and I push them to be better. It's given me a passion, and a career, and it's really been what started this next chapter of my life.